There is a moment that every growing organization hits. At first, everything works. Communication is fast. Decisions are clear. People just get it. Then growth happens. More people, more projects, more meetings. And suddenly, execution slows down. Deadlines slip, priorities clash, and leaders start asking a dangerous question. Why can't people just execute? Here is the uncomfortable truth. It is not an execution problem. It is an alignment problem. In this video, I'm going to show you the only sustainable way to scale execution without burning out your team. Yes, I'm going to show you the only sustainable way to scale execution without burning out your team, without micromanaging, and without constantly pushing harder. Because most organizations are trying to scale execution the wrong way, and it is quietly breaking them. The approach they are taking to execute is quietly breaking them. By the end of this video, you'll understand 1, why execution breaks as you grow, even if you hire smart people. 2, the hidden difference between effort and alignment. 3, the one system that allows execution to scale without constant supervision. And I'll show you how this plays out using some unexpected, and this one is Marvel's Avengers. I'll use this by using something unexpected, Marvel's Avengers. Let me start with a pattern I see all the time. An organization starts missing targets. So leadership responds the only way they know. They have more meetings, they have more follow-ups, they have more pressure on the team, more KPIs. In other words, more effort. But here is the problem. Effort does not scale. Effort does not scale execution. Alignment does. Think about it like this. If 5 people are pulling in slightly different directions, adding 10 people doesn't fix the problem. It multiplies it instead. Now, instead of 1 misalignment, you have 15. This is what I call execution drift, where everyone is working hard, but not coherently. And the bigger you grow, the worse it gets. Yes, the bigger you grow, the worse it gets. Think about the Avengers. Individually, they are good. Individually, they are doing a wonderful job together. Yes, they are powerful. Iron Man has technology. Thor has raw power. Hulk, well, Hulk smashes. But in the first Avengers movie, what happens? They struggle. Not because they lack capability, but because they lack alignment. They argue, they duplicate effort, they undermine each other. It's only when they align around 1, a shared objective, 2, clear roles, 3, coordinated action, that they became effective. Power didn't make them win. No, it did not make them win, but alignment did. Alignment made them win. Let's look at it this way. And this is where most leaders get it all wrong. Yes, This is where most leaders get it all wrong. They assume that execution is about hiring better people, setting clearer targets, or increasing accountability. Those things matter. They do. But they don't solve the core issue. Because execution doesn't break at the individual level. No, execution doesn't break at the individual level. It breaks at the system level. Let me explain. In small teams, alignment happens naturally. Everyone hears the same conversations. Context is shared informally. Decisions are visible. But as you scale, that shared understanding disappears. Now, you have different interpretations of priorities. You have conflicting decisions across the departments. You have invisible dependencies. And here is the dangerous part. Everyone still thinks they are doing the right thing. That is what makes misalignment so hard to detect. This is what makes misalignment very hard to detect, because everybody thinks they are doing the right thing. It doesn't look like failure. It looks like progress, just in different directions. Yes, it looks like progress, but just in different directions. I once worked with a growing organization that couldn't understand why execution kept stalling. The marketing team was hitting their targets. The operations team was optimizing processes. Leadership was pushing strategy forward. On paper, everything looked fine. Everything looked fine. But in reality, they were working against each other. Marketing was generating demand for services. Operations could not deliver efficiently. Operations was optimizing processes for a different customer segment. Leadership was making decisions based on outdated assumptions. Everyone was executing, but the organization wasn't moving forward. They were not moving forward. And that's the difference between activity and alignment. That's the difference between activity and alignment. Let's think about what happens in organization most of the times. At the core of execution, breakdown is one thing. Decision misalignment. Not effort, not talent, not even accountability. Decisions, because every action in the organization is driven by a decision. And these decisions may be what to prioritize, how to execute, when to act, what matters most. If these decisions are not aligned, execution cannot scale. It cannot scale. And here is where most organizations make a critical mistake. They try to align actions instead of aligning thinking. Yes, they try to align actions instead of aligning thinking. They say, follow this process, use this system, report this metric, but they never align. They never align how decisions are made, what trade-offs matter, how priorities are interpreted. So people comply. They comply, but they don't coordinate. They comply, but they don't coordinate. So if effort doesn't scale execution, and processes alone do not fix misalignment, what does? What doesn't scale execution? Processes alone do not fix misalignment. So what does? The only sustainable way to scale execution is this. You scale alignment, not control. You scale alignment and not control. Let me say that again. You don't scale execution by increasing control. You scale execution by increasing cognitive alignment. You scale execution by increasing cognitive alignment. This is the foundation of my organizational cognitive alignment model. And at its core, it focuses on aligning three things. One is decision logic. Everyone in your organization should understand some very critical things. They should understand how decisions are made, what criteria matter, what trade-offs are acceptable. Not just what to do, but how to think. Not just what to do, but how to think. Because when people share the same logic, they can act independently without drifting apart. Number two, priority clarity. Most organizations don't lack priorities. They lack shared understanding of priorities. There's a big difference. If I ask 5 leaders what matters right now, and I get 5 different answers, you don't have priorities. You have confusion. Yes, you don't have priorities, you have confusion in your team. Clarity means what matters most, what matters next, and what doesn't matter right now. That clarity is what allows execution to scale without constant clarification. Number 3, accountability architecture. Accountability is not about pressure. It's about structure. And this is where we focus on who owns what, where decisions sit, how progress is measured. When accountability is unclear, people either hesitate or overstep. Neither of these skills. Neither of these skills. They either hesitate or overstep. When you align these 3 elements, something powerful happens. Yes, when you align these 3 elements, something powerful happens. Execution becomes faster because decisions don't bottleneck. Then more consistent because thinking is aligned. Becomes more scalable because leaders are not the center of everything. In other words, you stop being the engine of execution and start building a system that sustains it. Stop being the engine of execution and start building a system that sustains it. Think back to the Avengers. They didn't win because Nick Fury controlled every move. That is not the reason they won. They won because each member understood the mission, they understood their role, they understood how to act in alignment with the team. That is what made them effective at scale. And the same is true for your organization. Yes, the same is true for your organization. That's what made the Avengers scale. And the same is true for your organization. If execution feels inconsistent, if progress feels slower than it should, if you are constantly stepping in to fix things, don't ask, how do we push harder? Instead, ask, where are we misaligned? Because the organizations that scale successfully are not the ones with the most effort. They are the ones with the most alignment. They are the ones with the most alignment. If this resonated with you, here is what I want you to do next. Take one area, just one area of your organization, and ask, are decisions aligned? Are priorities clear? Is accountability structured? You'll find your biggest execution gap right there. And if you want to go deeper into how to apply my organizational cognitive alignment model in your organization, then subscribe to the channel. Subscribe to the channel, because in the next video, I will show you how to diagnose misalignment in under 30 minutes. Yes, subscribe to my channel, because in the next video, I will show you how to diagnose misalignment in under 30 minutes.